we went to Cancun and we had a charter, and you know, I caught a big marlin, and the stories just keep bigger and bigger and bigger. And whether it's about sports or whether it's about politics or whatever, men have this tendency to compete in their communication. So status is always playing out in the background of a man's communication. You have to keep that in mind, sister. He can't help it. We can't help it. That's just the way that we are. It has a very important role that we can't get into right now. Maybe later we will. Let's go to the other side of it and blend the two. C-A-I-R, care, right? Women communicate for a sense of connection, okay? Women communicate for a sense, and within the background of all their communication, I don't care what they're talking about, pizza, biscuits, or what's on sale at Macy's. It's always about caring, connection, community, affiliation. Affiliation. Her communication leads towards and tends towards and sees as significant whatever brings about a greater affiliation. Intimacy. Intimacy is a critical part of the female communication. Also, relatedness, a sense of relationship. That's a critical part of communication. So, sister, when you talk to a male, then a part of tape that's playing in the background for him is this communication putting me up or is it putting me down? Brothers, when you talk to the woman, then her communication is always underscored by the question, is this bringing us closer together or is this taking us farther apart? Doesn't matter what we're talking about. Brothers, what you got to understand, when a sister communicates with you, if she says, do you want to go to the movies tonight? It means, I want to go to the movies tonight. It doesn't mean, it's not a real question. You have to switch your genderlect. We hear about dialects, there are genderlects as well. We think we're talking the same language, but we're not talking the same language. She's talking feminine English. Let's call it Fem-English. Okay? And he's talking male English, Minglish, right? So the idea is, this last 60 seconds, the idea is to understand this, brothers. When the sister's communicating with you, she gives commands and directions by questions and suggestions. It's in her nature. It's all right. That's the nature of it. Alhamdulillah. If you're smart, you will learn how to pick up on that and simply say, yeah, what do you want to go see? You know, because that's a part of connection, affiliation. That's a part of intimacy. That's a part of relatedness. That's that walk on the beach. That's that walk in the park. You got to know. You got to be able to hear those signals. When you do that, then you'll find your relationship being stronger. There's much more that will be said. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
I think on our next speaker, I really don't need to say a word about it. Imam Shuaibe is not only nationally known, but internationally known. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him for taking the time out. He has been, I think, the last couple of days already traveled 2 or 3 cities to get here. And I think next one is on his way to Dallas, inshallah, from here. I invite Imam Shuaibe, inshallah, to share the time.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Man, the happy part about these conferences, I get to see Imam Fahim. We're both in California. I hardly ever see him over there. But you're in Phoenix, though. I'm just making a point. See, she's speaking
Female.
English. Speaking English. Oh my goodness. Very quickly, this is also a very, very abridged, brief presentation from a 2-day seminar that I do occasionally called Islam, Marriage, and Family. So a lot of the themes were introduced earlier, and then the communications is one of the So part of this, there's the religious part, and then there's the clinical part. And from the clinical part are the 7 secrets of a happy marriage. And one is communication, which was dealt with briefly but very effectively. Another is managing anger. So just as communication breakdowns, which lead to bouts of anger in many instances, are critical in terms of avoiding and managing, so too is anger. So I want to start by building on a point that Dr. Anissa mentioned in terms of this is part of our religion. Marriage is part of our religion. If you pick up a fiqh book, usually the order in most fiqh books, Kitab al-Tahara, purification, Kitab al-Salah, the prayer, Kitab al-Siyam, or Zakat. Then usually Zakat, Siyam, fasting, charity, Kitab al-Hajj, then Hajj. And in many Kitab al-Nikah, after that the book of marriage, or talaq and divorce. So these are religious actions. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, by way of emphasis, أربع من سنن المرسلين السواك والتعطر والحياء والنكاح. The 4 things are from the tradition of all the messengers. And someone might say, Isa didn't. So he mentioned using the toothpick, keeping your mouth clean. Alhamdulillah, I think Muslims in this part of the world have that down. You go to some parts of the world, like, all the tobacco stains and whatnot. That would be nice. But that's from the Sunnah.